Good morning, students. Welcome you all on YourPedia panel. And today we are going to discuss some of the important problems for ECIL exam. And today we are going to cover the subject database management system. In this series, we are going to cover, mm, particularly in this video, I'm going to cover 20 MCQ questions which are very relevant for your exams. And you know that YourPedia is the largest platform which provide you the dedicated module as well as the interview module for all the PSUs and all the recruitments. So our dedicated batch for ECIL is going on. And if you want to join that, then you can just reach out to our executives or drop a mail or you can drop a message in this video and then our executive will reach out to you. So let's begin the series. So the first problem is, which of the following is true about a primary key? C. Which of the following is true about the primary key? It's not talking about the candidate key. It's talking about the primary key. And we know that what is primary key? It is one of the candidate key. Fine. What is primary key? It is one of the candidate key. One of candidate key. Fine. Now we know that what is the main purpose of candidate key? The main functionality of candidate key is to differentiate each and every tuple uniquely. Fine. And we have many primary key. We have many primary key, candidate key. Sorry, not primary key, but candidate key. There is just chance that we have more than one candidate key for our relation. And out of that, we are selecting a one candidate key and just considering it as a primary key. So what is primary key? Primary key can have duplicate value? No, that is absolutely false, because if we have a duplicate value, then how we can differentiate each and every record uniquely? Can be null? It never be null. It never be null. Keep in mind, my dear students. That means it must have the unique value. That's the main purpose of candidate key, and primary key is one of the candidate key. None of these. So for the first problem, the right answer is it must be unique and not null. Now, in a relational database, what is candidate key? It is a set of attribute. Yeah, because in candidate key, it is possible that we can construct our candidate key with single attribute or more than one attribute. That's why it is called as a set of attribute. And the main functionality of candidate key is to uniquely identify each and every record. Uniquely identify each and every record. So let's move on the options. A foreign key. No, foreign key is something different. That's why it is false. Move to the C option. It always a single attribute. It no. It a candidate key may be composite key also. Fine. That's why it is false. Optional for each relation. A candidate key. Yeah. No. So the correct answer is B. A set of attribute that can uniquely identify a tuple. And that is the objective of candidate key. Next, which SQL is used to remove a table from a DB? So, see, we have different commands. We have the drop command, we have truncate, and we have delete. Fine, these are the main commands in SQL. So here, if you want to draw a complete table, then you have to use or remove complete table, even the definition of the table also, then you have to use drop command. There is no such command that is called erase. Delete is used to remove or delete a single record, and there is no concept of table. remove table. That's why the correct option is the C1. Fine. Next. So, which normal form eliminates transitive dependency? So, first of all, you need to know what is the purpose of normalization. Why we create normal forms. See, my dear students, the normalization main purpose is to remove redundancy. To remove redundancy, right? Now, we have different types of normal form. That is 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, then we have BCNF, and we have two more important normal form, that is 4NF and 5NF. So it says about transitive dependency. Which normal form eliminate transitive dependency? See, in 1NF, we are trying to remove the multi-valued attribute. That is, attribute has to be atomic in nature. In 2NF, we are trying to remove partial dependency. In 3NF, we are trying to remove transitive dependency. That's why the correct option is C. Next, what does the I in acid stand for? See, if I talk about acid property, it is mainly related to our transactions. And what is transaction? It's a logical unit of work. Fine. So if we want transaction has to be successful, it must be in stable state. All the operations must be completed. So the A here stands for atomicity, C here stands for consistency, I stands for isolation, and D stands for durability. So they are saying that what does I stands for? So I is isolation. So all the options are very similar, like identity, no, false, inconsistency, no, indexing. Indexing is one of the topic in DBMS, but in acid, I stands for isolation. Now, again, which of the following property of a transaction in D is not a property? Yeah, which of the following is not a property of transactions? See, we already discussed a transaction has to follow acid properties. Fine. Where A stands for atomicity, C stands for consistency, I stands for isolation, and D stands for durability. So atomicity is there, consistency is there, durability is there, but there is no such R. There is here we have only four character A, C, I, D, but there is no such things of R. So the correct answer, which of the following is not a property? So redundancy is not a property. Keep in mind, my dear students. So the correct answer is B. Now, which normal form is a relation? In which normal form is a relation if it is in 1NF and has no partial dependency? First of all, we need to discuss what do you mean by partial dependency. So if I talk about partial dependency, what does it mean? Partial dependency says that suppose we have a functional dependency which says x determine y, where x is set of attribute and y is also set of attribute. Now, if the structure of this functional dependency is like where x is proper subset of candidate key, it's a proper subset of candidate key. And what is y? Y means, and the condition is, keep in mind, it's a and or, it's a not a condition of or. X is proper subset of candidate key And Y has to be non-prime attribute. What is prime attribute? Which is part of any candidate key. Non-prime, which is not part of even any of the candidate key. Prime, non-prime attribute. So this is called partial dependency. And we are trying to remove the partial dependency in 2NF. In 3NF, we are trying to remove transitive dependency. So the correct option for question number 8, in which normal form is a relation if it is in already 1NF and has no partial dependency. So that is 2NF. Now it's a question related to indexing. B tree is preferred in database indexing because why we use B and B plus tree? We have some static indexing that is called primary indexing. Then we have cluster indexing. And then we have secondary index. And one more is multi-level index. But all these are static in nature. All these are static in nature. Fine. So we move to a topic towards called dynamics indexing, and which is dynamic multi-level indexing more specifically. So B tree is preferred in database indexing because it uses hashing false. It provides sorted order access and balanced tree. Yeah, keep in mind B tree is always balanced in nature. Always. Both B and B plus tree both are balanced tree. And it is provides sorted order access. Yes, because in each and every node we are the elements are going to be inserted at the sorted place. So B is the correct option. It avoids the use of binary search. False. It supports sequential access only. The word is only. That is again false. So the correct answer is it provides sorted order access and balanced tree. Next. Which of the following ensure no two have the same value for a given column? So see my dear students, this is very important question and students sometimes did some mistake here. Which of the following ensure no two row have the same value for a given column? Fine. See my dear students, if two, what primary key tells you? It tells you that no two records are same, but it doesn't mean that no two columns are same. Fine. And we know that what is primary key? It is one of the candidate key. So many a time student mark the option as B, that is candidate key, and which is absolutely wrong for this question. Okay. So the right answer is whenever we are defining our table structure, we have to mention like we always write create with table name, and then suppose that we are writing SID and which is integer type and which has to be unique. And if once I mention that SID is unique, that means now if you by mistake put the same values, then it gives you an error. And that is the purpose of unique constraints. Fine. So the right answer is unique constraints. A relation is in BCNF. So see my dear students, if I talk about this relation, I want to say something. So in 1NF, no multi-valued attribute is there. In 2NF, a relation has to be in 1NF plus no partial dependency. If I talk about 3NF, it has to be in first of all 2NF, then no transitive dependency. And if I talk about BCNF, first of all, it has to be in 3NF, and then determinant must be candidate key. Determinant must be candidate key. So it is in 2NF and every determinant. No, it has to be in 3NF. All attribute are atomic. That is this done in 1NF. It has no foreign key. There is no such concept of foreign key. Fine. So the correct answer is B. Now, which see, always keep in mind whenever you are going for these type of exams, the questions are straightforward, but sometimes two options are correlated or similar. Then you have to just check the properties of those two statements or whatever the keyword they have. And then based on that, you have to decide which one is the more appropriate answer. Which SQL clause is used to filter the records? Now they are talking about filtering. Find filtering the records. So ordered by is used for sorted purpose. Then group by is used for making the groups. Where clause is a condition. That means we can say it is used for filtering purpose. Filtering based on some condition. And having clause is again a condition, but that condition is on group, not on individual row. So the more appropriate answer is where clause. Fine. Yeah. Next, which anomaly is removed by normalization? See, what is the purpose of normalization? The purpose of normalization is to reduce redundancy. Yes or no? And when once we have the redundant data, then we are facing the problem of insertion anomalies, deletion anomalies, which we already covered in our like standard lectures, and update anomalies. What these anomalies are, we are going to discuss. Fine. Then, so the right answer is all of these. Fine. That's why if you think that you are not aware with all these things, then I always recommend you that just join our dedicated batch. So right answer is all of above. Next, which SQL keyword is used to eliminate duplicate record? Now it's talking about the duplicacy. So suppose that in SQL you get the original output has to be like this. We have attribute A, you are filtering from this column A, and you are going to get the data like 10, 20, and 10. But finally, what you want? You want the distinct value. Then you have to use the word distinct. There is no such word called unique. Delete is something different. Remove is something different. Then eliminate. Maybe you think that eliminate means we are going to delete. That's why you can mark the answer as B or D, which is wrong. So we are using distinct keyword in SQL. Now, which property of transaction ensure that either all the operations are completed or none of them? So we know that a transaction has to follow acid property, and where A stands for atomicity. And atomicity says that either perform all the operations or none of them. Suppose that we have a transaction. Transaction is what? It's simply a set of instructions, and to fulfill or to complete that transaction, each and every instruction of transaction has to be completed. Fine. So what it says? It says that either all the transaction has to be completed or or none of them. and that is related to atomicity. Durability says the persistence or consistency, or I can say recovery. Fine. Consistency says about the stable state of DB. So keep in mind atomicity is the right answer. Now again, next one. So keep in mind the SQL part, the transaction basic part are the most important part. Fine. And again, the candidate key and all this stuff. Which clause is used with group by? With group by to filter group data. It means we are doing the filtration. And now filtration is provided not based on each and every row. It is based on a group. Fine. So always keep in mind whenever you want to just create the group and then you just perform the filtration, then you have to use having clause. Where clause is going to filter the record by record things. Distinct is used to create the distinct or display the distinct things. Order by is used for the sorted purpose we already discussed. So the correct answer is having clause. Now, which key may consist of multiple attribute? Very good. So see, we have primary. What is candidate key? Candidate key set of attribute. It means they may have multiple attribute also. Fine. Or they may have single attribute also. And what is primary key? It is a subset. It is a one of the candidate key. It means it also may have the attributes single or more than one. But here the appropriate answer is composite key because that is something specifically defined. So how we can define a composite key? Composite key means a candidate key with more than one attribute. So what is composite key? So composite key means a candidate key with more than one attribute. A candidate key with more than one attribute is called composite key. Fine. Next. Which SQL function is used to count the number of rows? Very good. Again, it's if you are not aware with all these questions, then you find some similarities between the options. But if you know SQL, then it's very simple. Which SQL function is used to count the number of rows in a table? Whenever you are, suppose that we have a table having 1, 2, 3, and 4 rows. If you count them, then you have to use count operator or count function. Sum is used to sum these values, summation of these values. Total is there is no such thing of total and no such thing of number. So count is used to count the total number of rows in a table. Next, again related to the acid property. So which property of acid guarantees that a transaction effect is permanent? Yes, the transaction effect has to be permanent, and that is talking about the durability or stable state. Fine. So durability says that transaction effect must be permanent. Atomicity says all the operations of a transaction has to be completed or none of them. Consistency told about the stable state, and isolation told about the serializability concept. Fine, which we are going to discuss, like already discussed in our standard lectures. And the last question of this series or this video for DBMS is a schedule is conflict serializable. We have different type of schedule. We categorize the schedule based upon the serializability and based upon recoverability. So here it is talk about conflict serializability, which is part of serializability. That is conflict serializability and view serializability. We categorize the things into two parts. So a schedule is conflict serializable if it is logically equivalent to any of the serial schedule. Why? Because serial schedule is always consistent in nature. That's why we are talking about the conflict serializability whose output has to be equivalent to some of the serial schedule. So the correct answer is B. So that's all for this video. We are going to cover the rest of the subject in the other videos. So this is a 20 question series and this is the first video for ECIL. So again, my dear students, if you think that you have to join the batch and you want to crack this good opportunity or grab this opportunity, then you can join our dedicated module. What you have to do is you have to just write in the comment section and you can just reach out to our executives and they will explain you what is the module and how this module helps you in cracking these exams. Thank you so much.